This is City Paper Live, Pittsburgh City Paper's weekly talk show, where we bring you behind-the-scenes stories from our weekly and online coverage, featuring City Paper writers, friends, and guests. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to City Paper Live. So I like that intro. So I know Josh did it, so it's still like
this Josh right over here.
Yeah, this Josh. So it's like hard for me to take it seriously.
Well, I couldn't hear a thing. So
yeah, maybe it's better you didn't.
Okay, I'll listen back and I'll give you feedback.
Okay. Let me know you think.
I did not write those words, which I felt awkward saying, which really comes through.
Yeah. Anyway, it's Friday. City Paper Live. I'm Jordan Snowden. And with me is Katie O.
Hello.
Do you I feel like I always call you Katie O, but do you just want Katie or
I mean, if we're establishing, a rapport, Katie's totally fine. I've actually been called Katie O my entire life.
Oh, okay.
Katie is perhaps one of the most common female names.
Yeah.
It's up there. It's up there. And there were so many Katies in all of my classes growing up that they would just go Katie last initial, like Katie L, Katie M, Katie O.
I feel like Katie O just kind of rolls off the tongue.
It does. And so when I was picking my on-air name, they'd already called me Katie O because there was another Katie working in promotions. They were like, "Do you want us to call you something different or like Katie O?" And I was like, "I think I want to stick with Katie O." They were like, "Yeah, we want you to stick with that too." Yeah.
Yeah, just fun to say.
Yeah, it is fun to say.
For those who aren't familiar, Katie is on the X and Big 104.7.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, I know there's another number in there.
Yeah, there's a couple.
But yeah, then she also has a podcast, Seen Unheard Podcast.
Yep.
I don't know if you say podcast. I don't know why I said that. Seen Unheard. And we actually recorded earlier this week, and the episode will be out on Monday. We recorded it together, and this is actually the third time we're seeing each other this week.
I know. We went to a Penguins game, which was a very not casual way to hang out for the first time.
No, it was pretty intense and loud, but we did it.
We managed to talk about a lot of things while watching the game. Thank you.
Yeah, we need to clarify we were watching the game and we weren't those people that were talking the whole time, even though we were.
Yeah. I feel like everyone was cool about it. No one cared.
There wasn't that many people around us, so it was.
We pulled it off.
Yeah. Yeah, but sorry, Rob, if you watch this.
Oh.
The old editor at the paper, Rob Rozzi, he works for The Athletic now. So he's always at the Pens games, and he knows both Katie and I, and I guess would love to have seen us together, but I didn't even think to text him.
Yeah, I honestly, it didn't even cross my mind. Sorry, Rob.
Sorry, Rob.
He got really upset.
Yeah, he was personally offended.
He dragged us for it afterwards.
I know. It wasn't just a one-off thing. It was we got a Twitter shout out and then a personal DM later.
Yeah.
A DM group message.
Yeah, it was a lot. Rob, we need to talk. Yeah.
Sorry, but are you okay? So if you want to check out the podcast on Monday, we kind of talk about being women, young women in the music industry, the local music industry.
Yeah.
Scene sphere.
Yes. Even though the word scene is in the name of my podcast, I always use it in air quotes. I probably should stop doing that. But no, it was really refreshing to talk to someone that kind of gets it, that's my age, that has had similar experiences. And I feel like it's one of the more open conversations I've had on the podcast in a long time.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was refreshing.
Yeah, I'm glad you felt that way.
Which reminds me, so last night I was at an album release show at Spirit. And we had been talking about what it's like when you kind of are a woman that goes alone to shows. And I was it's been pretty chill. I jinxed myself.
Oh no.
Well, I don't, because I'm engaged, guys, but I don't have my ring right now because it's getting fitted.
Yeah.
So I have nothing to indicate that I'm in a relationship.
You should just wear a ring pop.
I was laughing at how awful that has to be. Open prey. You're
yeah.
Ring or you're prey.
Yeah, I'm bait right now, I guess. Yeah, ring or prey.
Yeah. Nice observation, Josh.
But yeah, so I was wearing a crop top ish with joggers, but then t-shirt shirt, kind of like this, but like it was like more of a sweater material.
Okay. Sounds
Like,
great, by the way.
I thought it was cute. It was like super chillin', and then there's this guy. Like I went by myself. There's this guy that would not leave me alone. Like multiple times came up with like, "Have you seen an iPhone charger?" Like, no, this is a bar.
Right.
He's like, okay. And he's like, "Is that your friend?" It's like, no. Oh, okay.
Right.
Like weird questions, like where he would just not leave me alone.
Yeah, like you get the point of what's happening.
Yeah. And then it got to the point where like I could feel his eyes on me like wherever I was going. And another guy that was actually running the event actually had to come in and like say something and like say like, "You stop."
Really?
Yeah. And then he was like, "Oh, are you guys dating? Because you just gave me the look like you're gonna beat me up." And it's like, can I, like, we don't have to be dating to have someone like stick up for me.
That's usually act 3 is like when you shut them down in acts 1 and 2, and then when somebody comes in to kind of have your back, then they get really defensive and try to like insult you in the process. It's a really good time.
Yeah. And so then I'm saying all this to say is because I actually got in this weird funk afterwards. Like it just put me in like a weird mood. I don't know why. And I knew I was in it, but I couldn't get myself out of it. And then I like went in the bathroom and I was just looking at myself in the mirror and I was like almost mentally slut shaming myself. And I was like, is it my fault? Did I like, because I'm wearing a crop top, did I like kind of pander this attention? Like, and then I was like, wait, why am I thinking that? Like no, this is not my fault. Like this guy is just being an a-hole.
Right.
He's just being disrespectful. And I was like, I like had to mentally like pump myself and I was like, no, I'm an intelligent person. I'm not an object. Don't laugh at me, Josh.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing because that's a horrible thing to have to do.
It's so
and,
common.
Like work through your like male projected neuroses of acting, just trying to be.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, and then it was just like screwed me up for the night. I was like, I shouldn't have to think about this. I shouldn't have to like mentally, like you said, mentally like be like, no, you're a good person. Like you didn't ask for this.
Right. The fact that like the automatic narrative internally is like, wait, is this my fault?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we kind of dive into that a little bit more in Katie's podcast.
Yeah. I hope you listen. Am I looking at that, by the way?
It doesn't matter.
To.
Do whatever you want to do. This
on
is
Monday morning. Yeah, no, I'm really excited to listen back to it and edit it. I don't like to cut anything. I usually just cut for time, but this one is going to be just putting the intro in. I'm not cutting a thing. That is all going on the episode.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear it. Actually, I don't know. I kind of don't like listening to myself. I'm sure you're used to that, but
you kind of get used to it. I also am just not like sitting there listening to see like what I sound like on the air in the studio. Like it's just, I mean, I can hear myself. I guess like my commercials are kind of weird sometimes because they're like 150% of me.
you have to have a different type of voice.
Yeah, totally different.
Mentality.
It also depends on what kind of commercial it is. Like if it's a beer spot, you can be a little more toned down, I suppose. But if it's like retail, you really gotta
pump it up. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know how commercials are. They're just like, the song's on and then, or like on TV and then all of a sudden it's like, buy this, check this out. But also in the, I don't know why I'm just on this female empowerment role.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw my tweet yesterday.
I did see your tweet yesterday. I'm glad you brought this up.
I actually had quite a few people bring that up to me in person last night. They're like, I saw your tweet. And I was like, thanks.
Yeah.
Just because it was like my most liked tweet ever, which is like not that big of a deal, but
I'm gonna pull it up.
Feel
Here
good.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I don't know if anyone is into astrology, but yesterday was a full moon, and it always makes people feisty. Kind of full moons always put people in a weird mood. So I saw someone tweet about how Pittsburgh it's just like following off a chain of Houston has like all these artists, like Houston has Beyonce,
Right.
and a bunch of other people, but like the Houston has mix was a mix of like females and males.
God
and then
forbid.
someone did someone did a Pittsburgh one, and I think there was only one female on it, and she was like all the way at the bottom.
Yeah.
Female woman identifying.
Right.
How you want to say it. So then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna tweet this.
It's a great list.
And I like did a mix of like hip hop, like indie pop people.
Yeah, Kai's on there.
Yeah, Kai Voss is on there. Who else is on there? I'm gonna look it up myself.
Inez, Sierra
Inez,
Sellers, Jocelyn Rent.
Oh yeah, she. If you guys are not familiar with her by that name, she was on Glowphase's latest album. Glowphase is like an electronic producer who usually does beats, but he took a different turn this year and released an album with Jocelyn Rent on it singing, and it's beautiful. But yeah, I like switched up a little bit, and it was just like so nice to see the support.
Yeah.
that got.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I was expecting a lot more like lash back.
Really?
My brain isn't working right now.
You thought people would like kind of push back on it?
Yeah.
Really?
Childlike Express.
Yeah.
She's amazing. But yeah, that just like felt good. And I'm like, yes, women are supporting women in Pittsburgh.
Right. Yeah. I feel like that should be, I feel like it's so obvious to me that it's happening, and I don't know why it's not. Maybe because there are perhaps more people that are not in tune with what's happening locally than otherwise. But it seems so clear to me, and I think to you, that there's a lot of building one another up that's taking place. So I don't know why. I do get the impression that there are people that are not aware, that are kind of ignorant to what's happening.
Yeah,
if that makes any sense. I don't know if I
it
articulated
does, because
that well.
there was a couple of comments that I got that said, they're like, who are these people that you tweeted? Like, no one knows them because they're not in the street.
Oh God.
And I'm like, just because they might not necessarily be in the street doesn't mean they're not doing things. Doesn't mean that people in the music community don't know who they are.
Yeah.
Just
It's
because.
insulting.
Yeah, I just didn't respond back.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to get into it on Twitter. I mean, I guess that's the place to do it, but I'm not.
A complete dumpster fire on Twitter.
Yeah, always. But yeah, I was like, I already felt like I put myself out there a lot, but.
Yeah, we talked about that too on my episode, how it's really hard, especially as young women, to try to maintain some semblance of a private life while you are also displaying your personal and your professional life on one platform. That's a lot.
All over the place.
Yeah.
On Twitter, on Instagram.
Yeah.
Kind of Facebook, because I end up being friends with people there, because I'm like, oh, I'll just send you a DM on here instead of emailing you. 'Cause now.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Is chill. It is a lot.
Yeah.
It's hard. But we're doing it.
Yeah, we're doing it.
And it's fun still.
We like our jobs.
But yeah, so I'm going to take this a little bit of a fun direction.
Yeah.
Have you ever watched Billy on the Street?
Of course.
Okay, have you watched Billy on the Street, Josh?
Yes, I have.
All right.
Okay, cool. Me and Mike just recently got back into it, because I guess we didn't know it was on Netflix.
Yeah.
And so we've been like binging Billy on the Street.
Yeah.
He's so funny. I like wish I kind of want to do CB on the Street.
That'd be fun.
Oh, that was so off pitch.
No, I think you're getting there. It was a little flat, but
it was.
Okay. The Amy Poehler Christmas Carol episode is perhaps, I think it's in my top 3.
I'm surprised that like so many people like don't know the right words to Christmas carols.
I think they're also just terrified of Billy Eichner with throwing a microphone in their face.
It's so funny, because it's always like a mix of people that are like, ah! And then there's a mix of people that are just like, get the F out of my face. And then there's people that are like, dashing through the like, just so like, but you think like people would know by now that that's a thing.
Yeah.
And kind of be aware of it when you're in New York. But
I mean, hey, we just talked about people that are ignorant to a lot of things that are going on here in
That's
town.
true. There's probably a lot of stuff I don't even know that's happening.
I kind of wonder what Pittsburgh would be like, if it'd be the same as like that quintessential New York attitude of like, what is I don't have time
that
for this.
I feel like it would depend on where you are because there's so many pockets of Pittsburgh. Like downtown, that definitely people would be like, "What are you doing?" But I feel like if you're like in Lawrenceville, they'd be like, "Oh, hey, let's still talk." Or if you're in the South Hills, they're like, "I don't have time for this." I'm just stereotyping by location. Don't hate me.
Yeah.
Like, but it would just depend. Or like if you're on South Side, they're already drunk, so they're down to talk to you.
There you go. Wait, what time of day are we doing this? What time?
Any time of day. If you're in
Okay.
South Side, you're already drunk. No, I'm just kidding. I go to South Side a lot, and I'm not usually drunk.
It
Just
would
kidding,
be
that's a lie.
nice choice of words. It would be. I think downtown is probably where it would make the most sense because your
Yeah, for
office is
sure.
downtown and.
For sure. I'm just trying to get out of downtown and be like, I'm gonna go on a work trip to somewhere else.
Yeah. I think that you're kind of spot on with those stereotypes though. I think that maybe Lawrenceville you'd get the best, most thorough responses.
Yeah, like definitely the east side, like Bloomfield,
Yeah.
Friendship,
Yeah.
whatever that small
They're
pocket
also the lines that separate the boroughs in Pittsburgh, like you could have one foot in Bloomfield and the next foot is in East Liberty, and it's like where do you the lines are so blurry to me.
I know, for the longest time I thought I lived in Friendship, but I just found out I live in Bloomfield. I had
You
no
learn
idea.
something new every day.
Yeah, I
where you live.
was telling everyone, I was like, yeah, I live in Friendship. Like, no.
I don't.
Yeah, no, I
Sorry.
don't live in
I think
Friendship.
it's more of like like a region thing than a neighborhood thing, because it's like East End or like North Side, you know.
That's true.
Because if you're just like splitting them up into their specific neighborhoods, just like you said, you could be like kind of straddling the line between the two. And I think when you're close, when you're kind of stuck together in those certain sections, that you kind of have the same attitude, then you're
That's
not
true,
gonna be,
yeah.
you know, if Lawrenceville people have a way, I'm sure Bloomfield people aren't that different if they have a way too.
No,
right?
definitely.
They're not, yeah.
Definitely. But like Lawrenceville, it's like a little progression. It's like Lawrenceville, then Bloomfield, then Shady Side.
Yeah. And then into
and-
Squirrel Hill
And East Liberty is somewhere in there. I don't know. It's its own thing.
it's really nice how close together they are though, especially, you know, splitting my time working in Lawrenceville, and just if I need to go back, I live in Squirrel Hill, so it's like it doesn't take that long. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, I'm definitely an East Sider.
Yeah.
Love the East
I'm pretty
Side.
loyal to the East Side.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind being anywhere in the East Side, except that's not true. I'm definitely like more of a city gal. I lived in Monroeville for a while. It's too far for me. It's too far.
I consider the East End to be kind of lumped in with the city though.
Okay.
I do. It's just a little bit outside.
It is. I just feel like if the east, like the city East End, it's like they're all pretty much connected by like Penn or Liberty. But like I don't think, could you get to Monroeville from Penn or Liberty?
Penn, you would have to take all the way like past like into Wilkinsburg, and then hop on the Parkway, right? I think you'd have to take it all the way. There's so many red lights though.
Yeah, that's true.
They're-
But I feel like you could divert the Parkway because there are a bunch of back roads too.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, because I used to live over there, so you can get to Monroeville.
You would know. Yeah. Are you sure you live there though? Because I don't know if you're super aware.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
That's okay. I don't believe that. Yeah, I'm sure there are a ton. I'm sure there's a way to avoid a highway to get almost anywhere you want in Pittsburgh.
It just takes a little bit, and it's probably windy or hilly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed.
But sometimes, actually, I know you can. I'm just remembering this. I remember I worked in Green Tree, and the tunnel was closed for when they were. You know how they put those bumpy things in the tunnel now? Like when you first go in the tunnel, those things. They didn't always used to be there.
Perhaps I'm driving too fast to notice because I go to Green Tree every day and I have no idea what you're talking about.
So when you first go in the tunnel, there's these like metal strips that are kind of bumpy. And I guess it's kind of like people already slow down in the tunnel anyway, so I don't know why they put those in there.
My worst nightmare.
Yeah, everyone's worst nightmare. But so they like, you just like, haven't like had caffeine yet today. I'm trying to caffeinate, but my brain is not working. I have like, it's just not kicking in yet. But they have like, they're like metal strips, and then when you go over them, they like are like.
I think they're called accurately
yes,
called rumble
sticks.
strips.
Yes.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes, they put. Okay, so anyway, the tunnel was closed because they were putting those in.
Okay.
And so I had to get from Monroeville to Green Tree without going on the parkway, or at least going all back roads and then getting on the other side of the tunnel.
Yeah.
And I realized if you go all back roads into East Liberty,
Yes.
then you can go all back roads into Oakland and then do all back roads into downtown into Green Tree. It's possible.
Yeah. I suppose what back roads are the only back roads I would take to get to Green Tree? I would go through the south side and then through Allentown, and then I go that way.
So you can also there's this one back road out of Green Tree that brings you through Mount Washington, and then you can go.
Oh yeah,
I guess that's closed right to Allentown.
That's closed right now
because
they blew up the bridge that takes
when?
you a couple months ago.
I don't ever go over that side.
Yeah, whenever the Fort Pitt tunnel looks bad or Liberty looks like decent, I take Liberty into Mount Washington, and I found out the hard way one morning that the bridge that takes you from McArdle, I think, down into Green Tree was gone.
Wow, weird.
Yeah.
So we got super off track, and I brought up Billy on the Street because I have a game.
Okay.
That's Billy on the Street.
All right, let's do it.
I'm gonna get it set up, but I don't know if
I'm all good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So I write about music. You guys know this. So I'm always like typing in like the names of theaters, and a lot of theaters are ER or RE.
Yes.
And
are you quizzing me?
I'm quizzing you.
God.
It's theater. That's what this game is called.
Are they Pittsburgh venues?
Yeah, they're all. It's just there's I
I'm
have like 6. They're Pittsburgh ones.
I think I'm gonna get it right.
So do you have a timer, Josh?
Sure.
Okay. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh
We'll
boy.
give you 30 seconds.
Okay.
For
each or for in total?
total.
Okay, good. I was gonna say that's a long.
That's a long time. No. Billy on the Street. You don't have that much time.
That's true. Jordan on the street.
Jordan on the street. So yeah, I'm gonna ask you name the theater.
Okay.
I'm gonna name the theater, and then you tell me whether it's R-E or ER.
Okay.
And then
I'm
also
sweating a little bit.
Me too.
And then
For all
also
that hot traffic talk.
also bonus points, but not bonus points. I want you to tell me where is it located.
Okay.
And if you get more than half right in 30 seconds, I have a prize for you.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm really nervous.
No pressure, no pressure.
Okay.
You ready, Josh?
I'm ready.
Okay. Wait.
I will start it when you
Don't talk
after
too
you after you ask the first question. I will hit the button.
No, you start. You start it when I go, because Billy always says the title.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go theater, and then you.
Fair.
Okay.
Fair.
You're talking really fast and it's making
I
me
know.
really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I got really amped up for this game. I thought of it earlier this week, and I've been like, I didn't tell
You
anyone.
got to hit those rumble strips.
Yeah.
Slow it down.
Sorry, I just got really amped up.
Okay, let's do this.
Theater.
Yeah.
Byam Theater.
ER.
Location.
Downtown.
Mr. Smalls.
ER. Millville.
It's
R-
RE.
I was there last night.
16 seconds.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
sorry. Roxanne.
RE. McKees Rocks.
The Rex.
ER Southside.
Palace Theater.
RE Greensburg.
Backstage Bar at Theater Square.
A timer.
It was the last one, so it was
Okay.
pretty good. Do you have a guess?
No. What is it? Is it
It's ER.
ER? Okay.
And it's downtown.
Okay.
So, well, were you keeping
That's pretty
track?
good.
I think I won.
No, I was trying to hold this up in between you so everybody
think-
watching could see the timer.
I think you got all of them, but the last 2, or like the Byam Smalls and Backstage Bar.
Yeah. Okay.
So you got 4 out of 6. So you win.
Hey.
I'm gonna pull out your
Mom.
prize.
What's the prize?
The prize is
Behind the
something
scenes?
it's something I found at Lisa's desk. That's really cool.
Oh, amazing. Okay.
You guys don't know, but Lisa, we're moving in 2 weeks, and Lisa's desk is like a little Goodwill.
It's a it's a hoarders episode.
Awesome. Okay.
I have it wrapped up in the City Paper T-shirt, which also these are for you as well. So
Oh,
you can just
thank
have this whole
you.
package.
Amazing. Can I open it?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see.
It's light up Tetris.
Light up Tetris?
Yeah.
This is amazing.
It's actually, I already tested it out. It actually works. You can put them in any order you want, and you can just like put it at your desk or in your room.
Where do you find something
I
like
don't
this?
know. Lisa's desk
At a
is
hoarder's
a weird
desk.
Goodwill.
This is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's
I'm excited.
actually pretty fun.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're
That was a fun game.
Thanks.
That's a really good idea.
Theater.
Theater. Maybe you should submit to Billy on the Street and tell him that
to
you
do a
need
New
to
York version.
New York venues, yeah.
I should, because there's actually a lot
Nice.
of CP.
yeah.
That was something I definitely struggled with when I first started working at the paper, because I would have to look it up all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, it's hard.
I feel you. There's a lot of venues too.
There are, and they're all
That's a lot of theaters.
theater.
People also like to call it the Rex Theater when it's just
Rex
Rex
Theater.
Theater.
It's very true.
Rex.
Well, I think it comes with abbreviating. It's just like, I'm going to the Rex.
That's true.
Yeah, yeah. It feels right in spoken terms
It
to
just
say
feels
the
right.
Rex. Yeah.
Seeing other things that feel right but aren't necessarily right.
Okay. A great segue. I'm in.
So I used to live in Mount Washington, but when I lived in Mount Washington, I always said I live in. Wait.
I cut you off. I'm sorry.
Now I confused myself. I live on Mount Washington.
Don't break her stride.
I'm sorry. So you used to say that you lived in Mount Washington.
Well, no. I said I used to live on the mount.
On the mount.
On the mountain. On the mountain. Like, so if we, like, I live in Bloomfield. Like, you live in Shadyside. You live in Squirrel Hill. You live in downtown.
Yeah.
But, like, on the mount, you're like, I live on Mount Washington.
Yeah.
So it's like you live on it
Yeah.
instead of in it.
Although I feel like, yeah, same with the slopes though. I know people that say both. I live in the slopes. I live on the south side slopes.
I wonder if it's like a hill thing. Like, if you're on a hill, you live on it instead of in it.
I mean, technically it's both.
It is technically both.
You're in there a little bit.
Yes.
I mean,
People say living on Long Island, though.
That's true.
And that's pretty flat. So I don't know. But they also say standing on line in New York instead of in line. Which I
Really?
always thought, yeah.
I didn't know that.
great points
They
by
don't-
you, Josh.
Thank you. I'm just trying to help out from behind the scenes. I don't want this to turn into a tunnel conversation again.
Yeah, sorry, we got super off track. So I guess I'm just going to go to the next thing so that we don't get off track again, because I
Great.
am all over the place today.
That's all right.
So we obviously both cover music. And so we talked about maybe talking about our favorite albums or favorite artists that emerged this year.
Yeah.
Or songs or
I did.
whatever.
Yes, I did some songs.
Okay. Do you can guess we can take turns, like I'll do one, you
That would
do
be
one.
great. I hope that they're different.
Yeah, I'm interested
Me-
to see.
Cue up my list here.
Cool, I'm getting mine ready too.
Awesome. Okay.
Okay. My first one is one I already mentioned. It was the Glow Phase Jocelyn Rent
Awesome.
collab album. It was just such a departure from what he did before, and it's just like down-tempo electronic with like soothing
Yeah.
vocals.
Yeah.
So these are in a random order. Like
Right.
I
No.
couldn't really rank them, but
It was really hard for me to do this actually. Because
Yeah.
there were so many good releases this year.
yeah, I was like going through. It's weird. Like I was going through all the music articles, and I was like, wow, I've written a lot. And like, wow,
Right.
a lot of stuff came out.
Right. Yeah. It's shocking how many incredible releases there were this year. I'm gonna go. My first submission here. I'm gonna do Castle Song Feral Cat. One of my favorite songs of the year, I think.
Feral Cat was on mine, just as the album as a whole.
Yeah,
but,
no, it was amazing. I remember that release show. I think might be one of my favorite events of the
Oh,
year.
I missed it.
It was with Starship Mantis.
yeah,
it
because
was
it was a
incredible.
double album release.
It was really good at Mr. Smalls, which I apparently can't spell.
R.E. Cool. So guess that one overlaps.
Yeah. Okay.
I am going to now say Mysterious.
Oh yeah, that's on mine too. Wait,
from-
did you do just the album as a work?
as
or-
a whole.
All right,
Yeah.
cool.
Did you pick a song?
I did pick a song.
Okay. I feel like I'm doing albums and you did songs. This actually might work
This
out.
might be cool. Okay.
Yeah. Just so that was Clara, Kent, Tribe Eternal, NASA, Belial. Just like star lineup, fire album.
Yeah.
They all showcased Clara usually is known for singing. She showcased her rapping ability, which people are like, wait, Clara can rap? It's like, y'all
Oh,
didn't
Clara
know?
can rap. Fool is one of my top 10 of the year, and Clara raps on Fool, and it's so good. I think I'm adding it to my workout routine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
Ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you want to do one
Mhm.
okay.
So I'll do one. You actually just wrote about them on Wednesday. Well, in the issue on Wednesday, and I'm really
Oh.
excited because this was on my list, and we just talked about it on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And they have
Wednesday.
at the game on Tuesday.
We talked about it Tuesday? Okay.
Yeah.
We've hung out 3 times this week.
It's hard to keep track. They have a release show tomorrow at Smiling Moose.
Mhm.
Daisy Chain.
Yes.
The song off the new album Paper Carton Pulp.
Yes.
It is so
That's
good.
one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And then also OC in the title track.
Yeah.
Was really good.
It's like the lyrics are kind of silly in Paper Carton Pulp, but it's can I say damn? Can I say that?
You already
Cool.
said
It's a damn good song. It's really good.
What? Oh, I think we established that you can kind of curse on here. 'Cause
Cool.
when I had Connor Murray from Crafted Sounds and Lynn Starr from High Five Productions, there ended up being a lot of cursing.
I'm not shocked. Yeah, I'm not shocked.
Shout out to Lynn and Connor. When they were on the podcast with me, maybe, I don't know, a month or 2 ago.
Okay.
They had never met before. I just sent out a tweet and I was like, hey, does anyone want to be on the podcast with me? They both said yes. So I was like, okay, I hope you guys don't mind meeting someone for the first time right now.
Yeah.
But I guess they are both have labels.
Yeah.
And so Connor emailed me and apparently they met up yesterday to help each other bounce ideas off each other.
Awesome.
And so I just want to say that's awesome. I'm glad you guys linked up. And I did it.
You did it.
It's so fun.
Congratulations.
Power of social media.
Yeah, really. Genuinely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. I'm going to go with, so this one is just one of my favorites because it's so different.
Okay.
Phil Ortman, I think is how you say it. Sorry if that's wrong. He made this album called Pop.
Okay.
And it's like an electronic album.
Oh, write this down.
But it's all named, each song is named after a different kind of popper, which is, do you know what poppers are?
Yeah.
It's like a, Josh. I don't necessarily, I really like it because it's just so different. It might not be my best, my top, musically, but it's just so, I've never heard of anyone doing that before.
Yeah. I'm writing this down.
So I just like that one because it's so, I already said this, so different.
So different.
So out there. So
Awesome.
unique. Good for you for doing that, Phil.
Speaking of some electronic, I'm gonna throw in Kai Voss in my top 10. Power Trip
She love
is
mine.
for sure. Or Swallow the Batteries. Those are my two favorite.
That one's my favorite.
The album's Space Cadet.
Mhm.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, she's one that just kind of emerged this year.
She did. She's amazing. I'm so I know she's not from Pittsburgh, but I'm really happy she ended up
she's
here.
from Austin, which is crazy because that's such a music city, and she likes
Yeah.
Pittsburgh better as a music city.
Well, I really hope I get to meet her at some point. Yeah, I'm a huge fan. I was just actually it's kind of nerdy. All my radio passes and ticket stubs and pit wristbands.
Do you save all yours?
They're all framed actually.
I was just thinking about that last year, and I was like, why have I never done this? I've been to so many shows, so many concerts, so
Yeah.
many festivals, and I've never saved them. I just will randomly come across a ticket under my bed
Yeah,
or
I know,
in a
right?
suitcase. I'm like, why
Yeah.
didn't I save these?
Well, I'm so OCD that they're organized by year. My first year at the
I'm
radio station's in a
jealous.
frame, which is it's cool. And I was just finishing up 2019. I just had Space Cadet on, just cover to cover. It's such a good album, but I'm gonna go Power Trip as my top.
That's awesome. Like I said, I wanted to start that last year, but then I'm like, is it too late?
No, it is never too late.
Well, I guess we'll start in 2020, like 10 years after I started going to concerts. Whatever, never too late.
You're gonna be spending all of your money and spending all of your time at shows just so you can have
so I can collect all the ones that I missed.
Yeah.
Cool. So speaking of new emerging artists, I have on my list Drav.
Yeah.
They haven't released an album yet, but they've just been releasing singles.
Okay. Yeah.
And they're just like pretty kick-ass.
They are. Their front woman is amazing.
Yeah, and I read an article about them earlier this year and how she has OCD, but she feels like it's a superpower, and how it helps them actually create music better because she's like, I mean, I feel like a lot of artists are like, unless it's perfect, I don't want to put it out.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's just kind of like a step up from that. So yeah,
Drav, they're really good. I agree. That's a good pick. I'm gonna say Sierra Stellar's Shine is another top song for me this year. Sierra has a couple really amazing releases out, and I have yet to listen to her Empty Space.
I was just listening to it yesterday.
Okay, I'm excited. Don't ruin it for me.
I'll just say that they shot hers in a staircase. That's
okay, cool.
It's like good acoustics.
I saw the teaser, and there was a bunch of people in the stairwell, and I was really excited, so that's cool.
Shout out to Empty Space Project. That's such a cool thing they're doing.
It is, for sure.
Different. Who do they just have on there that they actually had like acrobats in it?
Really?
Yeah. Who was that? I'm gonna look it up really fast.
Okay.
But it was like, because usually they keep it pretty minimal, and then I saw that they had acrobats in their video, and I was like, what?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch that.
Yeah, hold on. I'm about to. It also was an artist that I actually had not heard of before, so that was really exciting to discover someone new.
That's my favorite.
Is it my turn?
Yeah. It is your turn.
Okay. Let me... There's a lot of tweets and I don't have my glasses on. Cam Chambers.
Okay.
Look that one up.
Okay.
It's really good. He's a very good singer.
I love this, and I'm learning new things.
I have one on here that I feel like you probably have.
Cool.
But I'm going to say it anyway. Kevin Garrett. After all this time, he finally put out his own album.
Yeah.
And his voice is just, it hits the right spot.
It's from a different world. I do not have. I'm sorry, Kevin. You're not on my top 10. Sorry. Factor In though might be. It was on my. Yes, I pay for Spotify. Don't tell my boss. It's like the devil at iHeart, but it's a competitor. But my Spotify year wrapped, I was looking at my statistics, and Factor In is one of my most listened to songs of the year, and it came out in October. So it's a great song. No, good pick. My next one is Harkin.
I actually am not familiar.
Oh. Look up Donnie Donovan.
Okay.
Donnie's also in Dino Soul.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but the song Drugs, the single from Harkin, I listen to it all the time. It's just the most badass. I just want to like run through a wall. I just get so fired up when I listen to it.
Did you get as fired up as I did for theater?
I was close.
I have Childlike Express.
Okay, cool.
And Empress. I always say Express. So I'm sorry. I don't know why I say that. Just because like she plays the ukulele, and I have a ukulele that I haven't touched in like 5 years.
Have you played before?
I was into it for like half a year, and then Mike really got into it, and he would like play it late at night when I was trying to sleep, so it made me hate it.
Just throw it out the window.
That was my mistake, because that same year for Christmas, I also got him a set of bongos. It was a rough part of our relationship.
Poor judgment on your part.
It's like, it's my fault, and I can't be mad at you for playing a gift that I got you, but I want to break this in half and burn it. So
Okay. Cool. Okay, Childlike Empress. My next one is BB Guns.
I have BB Guns.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have it's just the album as a whole?
Yeah.
The new album.
Help Yourself.
Help Yourself.
Mhm.
I love the song Valley.
Their single off there. Also the music video for. Did you watch the music video?
No.
It's so fun. I'm pretty sure they recorded it in California.
Oh,
in,
cool.
the
That
valley.
okay.
Yeah. But they're like just licking popsicles the whole time.
I mean, that's the artwork for the album, so that makes sense.
It's fun. it's like a good produced. It's like a good quality video.
It is, and the verses on that song. I used the intro for our episode on my podcast.
really?
Yeah, I fell in love with it. It's a great song.
Aw, fun. Sorry, that was a lot.
Okay, what's next?
So I just have one more.
Okay.
It's actually like it was a visual album that came out that I read about. And the album is called Songs for Pittsburgh. And it's the guy that wrote it is called Andrew Kriske. I'm not sure how to say it. It's Kruske. But you would like it. He actually shot like most of it in Squirrel Hill.
Nice.
But it's like this psychedelic album that it's on Vimeo. I was about to say Venmo. It's the millennial in me.
Yeah.
But yeah, he shot it all in like Squirrel Hill and a little bit of Oakland because he's at like Frick Park.
Cool.
But he puts this like kind of oil filter over it. Like something that they used a lot in like the 60s and 70s.
That's
to make
awesome.
things like, so it's just like this psychedelic, like trippy album, but it's just a visual album, so you can only listen to it like as a full. It's not like you can get
Right. I like
the
that.
singles. Yeah, it's something different. It kind of helps break away from that like single mentality that we all have now.
Yeah.
Especially with music coming out so often.
Right.
We're kind of inundated where we're just like, oh, I don't want to listen to this whole thing. I'm just gonna listen to the top song in this thing or
Right.
whatever.
A good example, like, you know, Space Cadet, Mysterious.
Yes.
I mean, when you listen to them cover to cover, they flow so well. And I highly encourage more listening to albums in full. A lot of them, almost all of them are meant to be listened to that way, in my opinion.
May I
Yeah.
You certainly may.
That caught my ear because I sometimes don't listen to a band or a single because I'm afraid I will only listen to that because I really want to listen to the whole thing. And that's why I kind of like digital music. I'd really just like to buy stuff because it's so easy to get distracted on your computer and be like, oh, that reminded me of this song. And even if you're thinking you want to finish that album, you're just jumping around or you're answering a Slack or something.
Sure.
And there's so many records I've bought, like when you had to buy, when you had to buy a hard copy and it was like, I really do not like this, but that was my $20. I'm going to keep listening to it.
Yeah.
And now there's some of my favorite bands of all time because I just like forced myself to keep going.
Right.
And I think that attention span that we lose when you can just like hop around, and I have Spotify, but everybody does, but like that, like bouncing around real quick, it kind of like cheapens the,
there's
100%. It takes away from it.
yeah, because it's a whole work of art. It's not just like singles are, they're a good way to like, they were a good way when it was a hard copy and you released a single so people bought the hard copy.
It draws
but
attention to it. It's like a promotional thing.
There's a positive and a negative, obviously. I mean, the positive is that with these streaming services, it's like, oh, you like this person, you might like this artist that you would have otherwise never heard of before, and that's great. But, we don't always have the time to say, okay, I'm going to listen to this album and then like I'll make note. I used to do that. And it's really easy to lose that commitment to follow through and really like do your research and your homework. But I mean, if you've never done it before, I highly suggest you just with one artist that you're like, oh, I know a couple of their songs. Maybe listen to a whole album, see what you think.
Yeah, it can really change your whole viewpoint of them.
Right.
I feel like somebody should put together a service in Pittsburgh. And I think was Bandcamp doing something where you could like print vinyl or something. But just like local bands, I think they need an outlet, like a cheaper way to be able to make hard copies for this specific reason, you know?
I know that's why a lot of like bands, calling out Crafted Sounds again, but like that's why a lot of them make tapes, because it is a cheaper form to kind of have a hard copy of something. But it's like not everyone has a tape player.
You know
like
what?
I had to go buy one.
They sell out. Connor like sells out of tapes, which is it's so encouraging. I mean, I do not have a anywhere to use a cassette, but
I just recently bought one after cassette store day. I went to the government center.
Nice.
And I got some tapes, and I was like, why did I buy these tapes? I don't have a cassette player. So then I went and bought one.
I like listening to. I love when bands send me CDs to the radio station, and I do the old car test. I love listening.
I don't, because my computer doesn't even have a CD
Me
drive.
either. Only my car.
Oh, see, I don't really drive that much. So I mean, I work downtown, so I take the bus.
Right.
Or my boyfriend drives, or my fiance drives me.
This guy I know.
But I feel like I'm not in the, like, I'm never in the car long enough to also listen to like a whole CD. Like, I'm never going very far.
Right. Yeah, I definitely have to. It usually takes me a whole day to, you know, like listen to the new Recluse album or whatever.
You still kind of have a little bit of a commute, at least. Like,
yeah,
Green Tree.
Squirrel Hill to Green Tree, depending on the time, can be a doozy, but it just depends. Okay, is it my turn? I have more.
Okay, go for it.
The Common Heart.
Common Heart. Oh, I forgot about that.
Oh
album.
man.
And their beer.
Clara Kent has a beer. A lot of people came out with a beer this year.
Plugging my work. I read an article about. Yeah.
No, it was awesome. I loved it.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, there's actually, and then after that, I saw like 10 other people that have beers, and
Swiss Army has one.
That was the one actually that was like started me writing about it.
Okay.
Then next week there is this band called the Nerd Herdlers.
Okay.
Herders. Sorry, I don't know why I said that. The Nerd Herders.
Okay.
They're playing at Club Cafe next week with Alice Banoga.
Okay.
I usually write words and I can't say
That's
anything.
okay. Welcome to my eternal struggle.
But they are doing this power hour drinking like concert.
Okay.
Where like they're each gonna play like 61-minute songs, and so in between each song you do a shot of beer.
Nice.
But they're releasing.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's pretty intense. But they're releasing a beer that week.
Oh,
or
cool.
That next week, that day, and it's called like Snow something. So it's like
I like
winter
that.
appropriate.
I like that.
But yeah, guys, send me your beer. I would like to see it.
The Common Heart. My favorite song off the new album is "Can't Forget You." Mike Minda on guitar. It's absolutely killing it. Benji and Inez, "Family Ties" is in my.
I forget about that.
Oh. How could you?
How could I?
No,
I'm sorry, Benji. I'm sorry. Inez. I didn't mean to.
Last for me is Caleb Kopta with his single foreign language.
I don't know that one.
Unfamiliar with Caleb?
Mm-mm.
Oh boy. He just recently opened for White Reaper at the Smiling Moose. Yeah,
that's why his name sounds familiar.
He's one to watch, in my opinion.
That's good to know. Speaking of releases, I haven't listened to it yet. But have you heard of the 1-800 album that dropped today?
Yes, I'm aware. I haven't listened to it.
I was seeing if you had. Yeah, no, it just dropped at midnight last night, so I haven't listened to it yet either, because I barely got myself together for this.
I relate. We can compare notes later.
Okay,
I'll have to listen to it.
Yeah, I'm excited. So 1-800 is this album that has like, I don't know how many tracks on it. Maybe there's 20 tracks, and every track is a different artist in Pittsburgh. And they just met up with the guys that produced it like the day of, and they each made a single. So I'm really excited to hear the sounds of Pittsburgh. I'm pretty sure it's called like Songs of Pittsburgh, or I might be saying this wrong, but something of Pittsburgh.
Okay. Yeah. No, I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be awesome. Pittsburgh City Limits.
Cool.
Yes. So because it's almost the end of the year and end of the decade, people have been doing like decade wrap-ups or whatever. I want to know, and it doesn't have to be local, your top concert
of
the decade.
Okay, of the decade.
The decade.
Ooh. Okay, well, it's honestly probably going to be within the last couple of years, just because of the sheer volume of shows that I have the privilege of going
same.
to.
I haven't even thought of mine, so.
Yeah, unfair. Not cool. No. Okay.
Or you can do like top 3 if you can't.
Uh,
Top
well,
5.
in my top 3 will be Tom Petty.
Okay.
I was able to see him in 2017 while he was here, and it was really great. For so many reasons. So Tom Petty is in there for me. Queens of the Stone Age is my favorite band ever. And Royal Blood opened for Queens on their Villains tour, also in 2020. Good year, 2017. And I went, and it was like right before I got on the X. It was a really exciting time, and I was really excited. Actually, the artwork for that show is the background on my phone.
Aww,
they chose a local artist.
Like your phone case. That's
Thank
pretty.
you. They picked a local artist and a handful of markets to create the poster for that show, and I was so in love with it that I bought it. It's framed in my apartment, and it's been the background on my phone for 2 years.
Good show.
So great show. I'm gonna say Queens. Ah, man, it's so hard to think. I go to so many shows. Yeah.
I guess okay, I'll think of one.
Okay.
This year, one show that stood out to me was Unknown Mortal Orchestra.
Yeah, I heard that was awesome.
It was at the Rex, so it was like a small, intimate, like indie rock band at the Rex.
Yeah.
And the one guitarist like got off stage and was like walking through the guitar with his guitar, like walking through the crowd with the guitar still plugged in.
Yep.
And I was like, what is happening? Like, this is amazing. Like, it was full. Like, the crowd was so lively. And like, I also, you guys maybe know this, maybe don't, but I'm like super into electronics. So I hadn't seen like not an electronic show at the Rex. And it was like such a different vibe. And I was like, this is amazing. And it was like a weird Wednesday or Thursday show. But definitely one of my top.
Yeah, no, I heard nothing but good things. A lot of my friends went to that show. I heard it was awesome.
Yeah, they opened with one of my favorite songs that I have known for like 5 or 6 years that I kind of forgot about. And then they opened with it, and I was like, oh no. So let's see, what else? I asked you, and I don't even know.
Yeah,
my
see, the tables
answers.
have turned. It's hard.
One really good show was last year, Thanksgiving Eve at Spirit. It was Benji playing. His first time I ever saw him perform. And then the like main act was Joe K from Selection Radio. Do you know Selection? It's like he's on Beats One, but he also has like stuff like on SoundCloud or whatever.
Cool.
But it's like vibey, like R&B, hip hop. Joe K is a really good DJ. He has such a good selection of music, like great, fantastic selection. And it was in Ian Brill's vault. And it was the first time I had ever been there. Top show.
Yeah, I mean, as an experience, I think the vault really enhances Spirit. I saw Japanese House at Spirit.
I really wanted to.
It was awesome. It was a really good show.
Yeah, I think I didn't because we had our CP party that day, which was super fun. Is that This Is Red?
I need to go to This Is Red. I was telling you about that I'm so intrigued. I love the aesthetic.
It's a really cool venue. Like every time I go in there, I'm like, can I just live here?
Yeah.
Like there's so much space, you won't even know I'm here.
Right. Yeah. And like I'll just tuck away in one of these libraries and you won't even know.
Don't worry about it. I'll clean up. You will know.
You have me thinking now. I gotta look back and figure out my top shows of the decade. I mean, I definitely listed, 2 in my most recent memory. Okay. You might appreciate this. I saw Oliver Heldens at the Agora in Cleveland. It was amazing. And then 2 weeks later, he released one of my favorite songs of his.
Snap.
I wasn't able to see it live.
Thinking of shows outside of Pittsburgh. That changes things.
Okay. Do you have another?
Well,
like a decade. A decade has to be like a 10 show, like best 10 show kind of thing.
Know.
For real.
That's
3
also,
that's really
hard.
shrinking down.
I know, and the 2 I just listed are in the past 2 years. But I also go to festivals, and a festival atmosphere is totally
different. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna name 2 more because I want to,
Yeah,
and I can do what I want right now.
you can. This is your podcast.
So there's this electronic act called Odessa.
Oh, yeah. Love Odessa.
I saw them at Halloween, I guess it was last year, but it was like one of the most magical things ever. I was like crying. I was no, not like crying. I actually was crying.
Yeah.
I need to stop using like so much. But I would just say every Odessa show I've seen has been amazing, minus their Forest set this year, because I'm pretty sure they were drunk on stage. Sorry if you liked the Forest set, people that are hardcore Odessa stans. I also am a Odessa stan. I have a tattoo, so fight me.
There you go.
Their Forest set was not that good. I'm very passionate about it. I'm also going to say Flume Electric Forest 2016. Ooh.
It's a hard question.
It is hard.
Yeah.
Oh, so I got one that I've never seen any other time. Big Grams. It is a collab album that Fanagram and Big Boy did. They just had a one-off collab album. They haven't done anything else. They released it and did like a mini tour. I don't even know if they toured, but I know they were at Bonnaroo. And I saw them at Bonnaroo. And Fanagram has always been one of my favorite. Big Boy, I loved him since Outkast.
Okay.
So that was an amazing show.
I might have to toss in, I discovered a couple years ago, they opened up for Kaleo. They became one of my new favorite bands. Their name is Susto. They're pretty small. They just played Club Cafe a few months ago, and I'm so sad I wasn't able to
What
go.
kind of
They're
music is
like
it?
Americana.
Okay.
They're amazing. Susto. I highly recommend Susto.
Okay, cool.
And that's, I mean, another really, it brings me to another point that I tried to promote as much as I can, that sometimes going to live shows is more effective than just going on streaming apps and to find new music. I mean,
you can hear the emotion, you can get part of their energy, the crowd's energy,
their talent.
There's been people that I haven't necessarily been a fan of, and then that's why I love festivals, is because you have the people you definitely want to see, but you have time in between that where you're walking around. Maybe you're just walking from stage to stage. Someone catches your ear and you walk by and you're like, who is this?
Exactly.
There's been so many times I've seen people at festivals that I didn't really either know or I just like didn't care about, and then I see their set and I'm like, wow.
Yeah, and a live show, a lot of times, like, there's so many songs where I prefer the live performance because they can take a few more liberties on stage and kind of do different things with the song itself, with their voice, and it's just it's such a different experience than just plugging some headphones in or listening while you're working. It's totally different.
Because you're also completely immersed in it. Like, usually if you're listening to music, you're doing other things. If you're at a show, that's the thing you're doing.
Right, you can feel it in full.
Josh, before we end, name one of yours.
Yeah, Josh.
From the decade.
Yes.
That's tough. And
we did it.
I do. Yeah, I want to throw some things in because I think like there's like different nuances and categories to classify these. Like, maybe it wasn't the best show I saw of the decade, but it was like a once in a lifetimer. So the first 3 that came to my mind was I saw Pavement in Central Park, and that was a reunion tour, and it was just like, I never thought I'd get to see them, and I will probably never see them again.
Yeah.
And it rained, and it wasn't that great, but that's got to be a top 10, or easily top 3. The Mesthetics at Spirit was really cool because there's 2 guys from Fugazi, who's one of my favorite bands, and I got to meet the drummer, and it's one of my favorite drummers.
Did you geek out?
He was so nice and friendly. Like, there's one of the few times I've been like, let's get a picture. Let's do it. Let's do a selfie, which I didn't know how to do. And it was all blurry and all drunk. And he's like, is that good? Do you really want to do it? You want to do another one? It's like, you can go. Yeah. He's like, are you sure you want that one? And he just hung around and talked to me. And it's really cool, like instrumental, math rocky kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Faith No More was another reunion show that I saw in New York that once again thought I would never like a favorite band growing up. It's like, I'll never see them again. And then I saw them like 3 or 4 more times because they just kept doing it.
Right.
So those are, and The Evens, which is another like Fugazi, Ian MacKaye from Fugazi. And I got to meet him, and that was like, I don't get excited about famous people, but I was like a complete dork. There's pictures of me like a smile I've never been able to replicate. You know, I bought a Sharpie off other people who had to like sign the record I just bought. You know, so those kind of things. I wouldn't say they were like the best sounding shows I saw of the decade, but like
the experience.
Easily the most memorable.
For sure.
Yeah, like so much fun. And they really just stick out when someone's going to say, like, you know, like if you have to do a listicle of something, those are going to pop up.
Yeah, that's why I listed Big Grams, because I don't know if they're ever going to do something again. I don't know if they're ever going to tour again. But it was something that's like so memorable because that was my album of the summer that year. Mm-hmm. You should look it up if you're not familiar. Okay. It's really good. But yeah, I love hearing everyone's different music tastes.
Yeah, this conversation, I could hold this one for days.
Sure. Yeah.
Especially for a decade.
But I think we have to wrap it up. We're hitting an hour. Time goes so fast when you're having fun.
So fast.
So yeah, thanks for watching, listening, whatever you're doing. If you want to keep going with the Katie O, George Snow vibe. Listen to Seen Unheard on Monday, or you don't have to do it on Monday.
You could have your show Katie O or Katie Or, like, theater or theater.
Right.
Yes.
You're onto something. Maybe not that, but you're onto something.
I just ruined the conclusion to the show.
Yeah, so anyway, listen to the other podcast.
Yes, for sure, on Monday. Thank you for having me so much.
Yeah, third time's the charm.
Yes, third time's the charm.
Actually, the second time was pretty good, but. So thanks. I don't really know how to say goodbye. Bye.
Bye.